Hey everyone, tonight we begin with something ancient, vast, and absolutely untouchable, a force older than light itself. This is the story of Nyx, the night goddess even gods feared. Before there was light, before the stars, before even the whisper of time, there was night. Not night as we know it, not the fading blue behind rooftops, not the dimming of day, but a presence, vast, aware, infinite, a breathing hush, older than memory, older than gods, older than need itself. She has no face, and yet you've seen her in the quiet moments, when your thoughts grow long and the world retreats. You've felt her fingers in your hair as you drift into dreams. You've heard her voice not with your ears, but somewhere deeper in that fragile space between thought and silence. She enters not through doors, but through your forgetting. She doesn't speak. She listens. She remembers. They called her Nyx, the first night, the mother of sleep, the shadow behind the stars, and even the gods stepped lightly in her presence. For where they ruled with thunder and fire, she ruled with stillness. Tonight we follow her into the deep, into the hush, into the myth, into the dark where stories are not told but remembered. Chapter 1. Born from chaos. She wasn't born like other gods. She was not sculpted, not forged in divine fire, not summoned through prayer or passion. She unfolded gently, irrevocably, like silence becoming shape, like the first breath, drawn in a universe not yet breathing. She did not descend from Olympus. She did not rise from earth. She bloomed from chaos, the original vastness, the formless sea of potential, but not as a child bursts forth from a womb, rather as a secret slips from the mouth of stillness. And that secret was Nyx. She emerged with no celebration, no trumpets, no fire, no golden blaze, only the slow turning of the eternal void acknowledging her presence, a hush, infinite and complete, while other gods were born into struggle, while they bickered for mountains, oceans. Sky Nyx did not fight, she did not claim, she did not need to. She already was, a fact, a presence, older than shape, older than time. She was not given a throne. She became the space in which all thrones would someday be imagined. She was not named by the gods were named because she allowed them to exist. Before fear, before light, before fate, there was Nyx, and she watched the stars yet unborn, and knew they would someday call her mother. Chapter 2. Mother of Shadows. Nyx did not scream. She did not shine. There were no celestial trumpets when she moved, only silence, only gravity. Presence felt more than seen. Yet from this silence came more than form, came meaning. From her, the cosmos received not just children, but forces, ideas, inescapable truths. She gave birth not to rulers, but to realities. Hypnos sleep, the gentle curtain pulled over the conscious mind. Thanatos death, the inevitable conclusion, silent and absolute. Moros doom, the slow crawl of fate, nemesis retribution. Balance in blood and consequence, a page deceit. The smiling mask truth wears when it hides, Ares discord, the crack in unity. The whisper of division, fillets affection, softest of all, reminder that even night can be warm. From her came the very opposites of light and law, the invisible forces that move through us, shape us, undo us. She was not evil, she was necessary. The world did not need another radiant throne. It needed a shadow to cast meaning onto the flame. Nyx did not ask for temples. She did not demand worship. She asked only for silence and time, and perhaps first to notice, once in a while, that the most powerful things in life are the ones we cannot touch, only feel. Chapter 3. The one even Zeus feared, in all of Olympus, where pride towered as high as marble pillars. There was one name the gods spoke only in whispers, and never in anger. Nyx. She did not sit on the council. She did not throw bolts or shape mountains. She did not need to. Her presence was not thunderous, it was inevitable. Zeus, ruler of thunder, shaper of skies, breaker of oaths, even he, in his fury, stepped lightly where Nyx's shadow stretched. For Nyx was not merely old, she was ancient, not bound by Olympus or by time. While Zeus had risen in a storm of rebellion, Nyx had watched the universe stir from silence. She had no need to challenge him. Her power did not rise, it endured. She was not louder. She was deeper. And Zeus knew. One does not strike the night. One respects it. So when her son, Hypnos, god of sleep, dared to lull Zeus into slumber when even the king of gods was made small by drowsiness, it was not vengeance that followed. It was fear. Zeus, upon waking, burned with rage. But when Hypnos fled to the arms of his mother, to the eternal darkness that bore him, Zeus did not follow. He let the matter end, not because he forgave, but because he understood. Some shadows are older than light. Some laws are written not in scrolls, but in silence, and the goddess of night was a law unto herself. Chapter 4. The Temple Without Light. There was no flame in her temple, no hymn, no statue, no marble columns to scrape the sky, no gold to shimmer in her honor, only shadow and silence, where others built sanctuaries bathed in light. Nyx required the opposite, not absence, but presence in darkness. In the lands of oracles and seers, she was not called with chants, but with breath held, with heart stilled, with thoughts dimmed like the last ember before sleep. Her temple was the inner chamber of the mind, the moment between closing the eyes and falling. People did not go to her as to a protector. They went to her as to a final embrace. They asked not for victory or riches. They asked for sleep when the mind could no longer bear its own weight, rest when the soul grew weary of its masks, forgetting, when memory burned too long, and sometimes for dreams, when they longed to glimpse something beautiful again, even if it wasn't real. Nyx did not promise answers, but she promised stillness, and in her temple without light, some found the only thing more sacred than truth peace. Chapter 5. Dreams are her language. The Greeks believed dreams were divine messages, sent by the gods, but delivered by Nyx, for it was she who cradled the boundary between worlds, the veil between waking and sleeping, between breath and stillness. In her womb, two twins floated, Hypnos and Thanatos, sleep and death, two sides of the same river, not enemies, not strangers, but reflections, one a rest that visits, the other a rest that stays. Every night we lay down our weapons, our names, our noise, and surrender to Hypnos, and in doing so we come near Thanatos, though never quite crossing. It is Nyx who guides that nightly passage, she who steers us into sleep like a boatman in velvet shadow. A river we cross every night, trusting that we'll return by morning, but never quite the same, for dreams are not mere stories. They are echoes, warnings, visitations. Some come from memory, some come from prophecy, all come through her, and if we listen closely, we may hear in our sleep what we miss in the noise of day. Chapter 6. The Sisterhood of Night. Nyx was not alone in the great mythic dark. Across cultures, across time, her sisters moved in silence ancient and primal, hidden beneath language, but present in every shadow. They did not need temples. They lived in the hush before sunrise, in the moment between breath and thought. They were not defined by their names, but by the feeling they left behind, or reverence, unease, not. In Norse myth, a black-cloaked rider who galloped across the sky, bringing night not as punishment, but as rhythm. She rode before the dawn, a quiet reminder that all things must rest. Wheat, in Egyptian cosmology, a goddess who swallowed the sun each evening and birthed it again each morning. She was the arched sky, studded with stars, a living canopy over all existence. Kali, in Hindu tradition, the destroyer. Yes, but also the liberator. The Black Mother whose darkness is not absence, but transformation. Her dance ends illusion. Her gaze cuts through time. These were not demons. They were not villains. They were truth in its rawest form, the other half of divinity. Each one a face of the night. Each one a vial between the worlds. Each one a doorway, a mirror, a warning. They were feared. They were worshipped. And above all, they were misunderstood. But to those who listen, to those who dare to sit with the dark, instead of fleeing it, these goddesses became not shadows, but guides. Chapter 7. The Archetype of Night. Carl Jung once wrote, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Nyx is that secret order not through rules or structure, but through resonance. She is the pattern that breathes beneath our chaos, the still point at the center of our spiraling thoughts. She is the archetype of night, the living symbol of the unconscious mind, the primordial dark from which all light is born. She is the shadow, the parts of ourselves we exile, the emotions we bury, the truths we fear to name. In Jungian terms, she is not evil or dangerous. She is what is repressed and therefore what holds the key to healing. Nyx is the mirror we turn away from, but when we dare to look, we find not monsters but ourselves. She is the keeper of forgotten things, childhood dreams, ancient wounds, unrealized desires. She holds them all, without judgment, in the folds of the night and in dreams. She speaks, not in language, but in symbols, not in logic, but in feeling. She is the poet behind the dream, the guide in the dark, the voice that whispers. You are more than what you show. You are more than what you fear. You are whole even in the dark. To embrace Nyx is to embrace the unknown, and in doing so, become whole. Chapter 8. Letter from Nyx. You seek meaning in stars, but I hide it in silence. You chase clarity, but I speak in symbols. You search in sunlit answers, but I dwell in questions. I am the pause between thoughts, the dark between heartbeats, the wait behind your breath. You fear me because you do not know me, but you do. You always have, every night. You return to me not out of faith, but instinct, not in ritual, but in rhythm. When your eyes close, I open mine. When the world fades, I arrive. When time stills, I begin. I am not the absence of life. I am the space where life finds itself. Again, I do not demand worship, only awareness, only softness, only stillness. You call it sleep, you call it dream, but it is me, holding you, dissolving you, so you may wake lighter, quieter, truer. Do not fear the dark, for in it I am always here, watching not to judge, but to receive, waiting not to silence you, but to listen. And when you forget who you are come, to me, I will remind you that you are not alone, that your shadow is not a curse but a companion, that the night is not the end, but a beginning in disguise. Chapter 9. The Mirror of Sleep. Sleep is surrender, not weakness, not escape, but a sacred offering, a return to the self we forget in the daylight. To sleep is to trust, to lay down our will, our watching, our grip on the world, and fall into the unknown, to enter her realm, arms open, believing that something ancient and kind will hold us. In the hush of night, we become children again, not helpless but honest. Our armor slips, our roles dissolve, and we drift. Nyx is not the end. She is the space before a beginning. She is the breath before rebirth, the warmth that doesn't hold us back, but holds us together. She is the cocoon before transformation, the veil that covers us not to blind, but to soften, to protect, to prepare. When we wake, we rarely remember her, but she remembers us, and each night she wakes not to take, but to receive. The mirror of sleep does not lie. It reflects who we are, when we are no longer trying, and in that reflection we are not broken, we are becoming. Chapter 10. Return to the dark. There are no prayers left to say, only stillness, only breath, only the gentle unraveling of thought as we close our eyes. It is not an ending, it is a return. We do not fall into nothing. We fall into her, Nyx, goddess of the night, mother of sleep, womb of the void, cradle of the cosmos. And in those sacred hours when the world forgets itself, she remembers us. She takes the weight from our shoulders. She smooths the static in our minds. She gathers all we've scattered. We sink not in fear, but in release, into the dark that does not devour, but restores. And for a few quiet hours, we remember what it means to surrender, to forget, to dream, to become whole again in her arms. And when morning breaks, it is not a departure but a rebirth. We rise from the night not as who we were, but as who we are becoming. This is the gift of Nyx, not darkness, but the depth from which all light returns,